Fox News alert, Prince Andrew had a bad birthday. He turned 66 and was arrested by British police. The charge? Suspicion of misconduct in public office. This comes after Trump released the Epstein files. Investigators believe he shared classified information, trade secrets, with Epstein. This is much worse than a PR disaster for the British. Now it's criminal. King Charles said this: "Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all." The magnitude of this can't be overstated. The King of England's brother was just arrested over ties to an American sex trafficker. Could the King's brother be thrown in prison? Andrew was stripped of his titles years ago over his relationship with Epstein and accusations of sexually abusing a 17-year-old. But Buckingham Palace is now under siege. What did the royal family know, and when did they know it? Prince Andrew's disastrous interview back in 2019 was supposed to kill the controversy, but the King's brother bombed.
Could I have avoided ever meeting him? Probably not. And that's because of my friendship with Ghislaine. It was inevitable that we would have come across each other. Do I regret the fact that he has quite obviously conducted himself in a manner unbecoming? Yes.
Unbecoming? He was a sex offender.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm being polite.
Prince Andrew later settled a lawsuit brought by Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre without admitting wrongdoing, but we can assume he paid her a substantial sum. These photos were released in the Epstein document dump and did not do the prince any favors. The palace thought it was over, but it wasn't. The Trump presidency has been extremely transparent, and the man in the Oval has had his finger on the pulse for a while.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it.
3 million files have been released by the Trump Justice Department, and we still don't really fully know the consequences.
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated. That's very nice. I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing to see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing.
The Epstein saga isn't just about a prince. It's already taken down powerful Americans. Obama's economic advisor, Larry Summers, and Obama's White House counsel, Catherine Rumler, have both resigned from Harvard and Goldman Sachs. The head of the Olympics might be next. Journalists are just getting started combing through these documents. The blast radius is real, and it's expanding. Liberals thought it would destroy Trump. It didn't. And now, who knows where this thing goes?
In the name of transparency, can you put up my name is in the files? Yes.
So in other words, anybody can be on this list.
Well, this is my point, because I'm telling you, when I tell you people are trying to turn me into, I wasn't his girlfriend, I wasn't his friend.
You were too old for him.
If you look, you know why my name is there. Because someone was looking for a plane, and that's what people do. They go to all the people who have private planes and say, do you have one?
The main man Epstein made money from, Les Wexner, who owned Victoria's Secret, testified yesterday. No one was closer with Epstein than Wexner. But Democrats clearly aren't interested in the victims.
Did you ever see or become aware of President Trump having a sexual relationship with a person who was introduced to him by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Has Donald Trump ever discussed Jeffrey Epstein with you?
No.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever discuss Donald Trump with you? Did Epstein ever share any information with you about Donald Trump's sexual activities?
No.
Hundreds of millions of dollars moved from Wexner's accounts into Epstein's. How? Why?
Several $100 million is a large but not precise figure. To the best of your knowledge, how much exactly did Epstein steal?
I don't know. I don't think I'll ever know.
Do you have any knowledge or recollection of what I just described?
I'm effing surprised. I'm shocked. I didn't know this.
And then separately, it's been reported that around $20 million of stock and cash were contributed by two of your charitable foundations to one of Epstein's charities. Do you have any knowledge or awareness of that?
Effing shocked. I'm appalled. I never heard that.
An incredibly successful businessman and billionaire doesn't know how his money went missing? We find that hard to believe. At one point, his lawyer leaned over and said, "Just shut up."
Answer the question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question. Okay.
Now, the Clintons are on deck. They'll be testifying under oath, and the deposition will be recorded. We could see that in the weeks ahead. Hillary's already standing by her man.
We have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about.
Ghislaine Maxwell was at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. Chelsea wasn't friends with Ghislaine. When that invitation went out, it came from Bill and Hillary, probably. Or maybe Ghislaine was just a +1. So here we have the Clintons, the British royal family, Wall Street, billionaires, all fighting for survival over the Jeffrey Epstein fallout. That's only just beginning. Foundations, surveillance, trade secrets. This is what Americans have been suspicious about and have been indignant over for decades. A politically connected international financial elite playing by their own rules and rigging the system against the average Joe while they look down on him in disgust. They've been getting away with it for years. Private jets, private islands, private security. When you operate at that altitude, no one will ever know. And if there's a problem, problems disappear. Fantasies are for sale, and the price might not be in hard currency. It could just be favors. Everybody wanted access to that world. Now everybody's running away. Could this scandal take down the monarchy? Well, the last time a member of the British royal family was held accountable for anything was when Queen Elizabeth's daughter, Princess Anne, was forced to pay a 500-pound fine when her bull terrier, Dottie, bit 2 children. And before that, in 1685, when King Charles II's illegitimate son, the Duke of Monmouth, was beheaded for treason. And his execution, sadly, was botched and required multiple blows from the axe. We don't believe Andrew's facing the same kind of punishment, but this probably does feel like a death blow. This is taking down a dynasty across the pond. Now, the only question is if it takes down a dynasty here. Now, the videos from Epstein's properties we'll never see, and we'll never see anything damaging to U.S. national security. In Epstein's safe, they found a foreign passport with an alias. Epstein was likely an intelligence asset and worked very closely with the former Israeli Prime Minister, Ehud Barak. And he could also have been double dealing. There's still a lot we don't know, and a lot we'll never know. But we do know a lot of people are very nervous tonight, because if it happened to a prince, it can happen to anyone. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.